Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have a bit of a lighter story here. It's about the SNP. I teased it in the last one. It's something that I hope you enjoy this one. It's light, it's fluffy. There's no real news content, but it is something I feel that is certainly worthy looking at and definitely worthy a comment on, because I think it goes to the heart of the problem of why the SNP is a failing party. And this sort of highlights why that fail is there and what the fail is. So I'll take a look at it. But it is just a wonderful little light, I think a good story, a nice story for a Tuesday, last Tuesday of the month. Just puts you in the frame of mind and lifts your spirits. But it's all to do with the fact that the SNP can barely garner enough support that their branch meetings, virtually nobody is turning up. You know, they can't manage a dozen people. And sometimes not even that. It is sure sign of a party that is dying on its feet. And of course, if you can't even fill a branch meeting, where are you getting your subs from? Where are you getting your money from? It's no wonder they're financially broke. And it's no wonder support is ailing, failing, and dripping away like frost on a spring morning. Here goes. SNP struggling to get 10 people at branch meetings as activists ditch Humza Yousaf and workers head for Alex Salmon's Alba. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're not doing this in droves. I can believe they're ditching the SNP in droves. Going across to Alex, less likely. Some are, undoubtedly, but not enough. And I don't think it's enough that will change the political map in terms of giving Alba any seats. But it is telling that people are walking away. And I'm going to say why they're walking away. It probably won't mention it in here, but I'm going to tell you why. Nats are finding themselves in a financial death loop as voters turn against the First Minister ahead of the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election and next year's general election. Now, I'm going to say they're turning against him personally. It's not his party they're turning against, it's him. He's a charmless, ignorant, stupid man. He's a serial failure. He's a liar. He's obsessed. They're looking around and they're seeing the damage that obsession causes, and they're choosing to not align themselves with him. This is a man, of course, who is completely anti-white, vigorously, racistly anti-white. This is a man who, when asked to condemn the singing of pro-IRA songs by his own members, refused to do so. Now, when you refuse to condemn, that is the same as condoning. So, for some strange reason, this man is pro-IRA, pro the killing of innocents. One only has to remember 25 years ago and the Omar bombing, and think of the children that died there, and he's supporting that. So it's no wonder that a lot of decent people are walking away from him. He really is toxic in every possible metric that matters. The SNP is struggling to get more than 10 people at its branch meetings as activists ditch Humza Yousaf's party, it has been claimed. And experienced NAT workers are opting to ditch the party for Alex Salmond and the Alba, according to a leading Skexit activist. Robert McAlpine, who set up the pro-separatist Commonweal think tank, believes party members are becoming disillusioned with Yousaf's leadership, and the entire canvas teams have quit for rival indie party. He claimed the SNP has a branding problem, and that it must overcome or face becoming secondary force in politics. It has got a branding problem because that brand is Humza Yousaf, continuity Nicola Sturgeon. And that is why it's failing. It comes against a backdrop of poor polling, both for the SNP and Yousaf himself on a personal level. Despite hopes of a honeymoon period, the SNP leader has failed to impress voters since taking over from Nicola Sturgeon. He actually failed to impress voters before he took over from Nicola Sturgeon. And he's actually seen his popularity drop. And drop it has, and drop it continues to do. It's not as though he's levelling out. It's definitely still a downward trend. You follow the trend line, he is going down for a long time. Research suggests that the SNP could lose over 20 seats to Labour at the next general election. And I'm going to suggest even more by the time this comes, because it is continually downward. Now, again, the trend line is down for him, but the trend line is also down for the party, and there's no way of avoiding it except one. There's one way. A by-election in Rutherglen and Hamilton West later this year is also looking like it being a tough ask for the Nats. They will be glum on that Friday morning, without doubt. They will be glum. Insiders say but they're all resigned to losing the seat, despite a very poor campaign so far from Labour. Labour don't have to do anything. Labour just don't have to screw it up. You've got Michael Shanks, Labour, prospective candidate. Well, he's not the prospective candidate. He's the candidate. Michael Shanks. All he has to do is just knock on a door, smile, say, "Hi, I'm Michael Shanks. I'm Labour. Please do consider voting for me." Move on. He doesn't have to be spectacular. He doesn't have to do anything, because every day the SNP are doing his campaigning for him. In a new blog published on Monday, Mr. McAlpine claimed numbers at such branch meetings are dwindling, and fast. He said the activist base has basically evaporated. It is the activists who made up the ground teams who are the ones who become most disillusioned, and it was the inactive paper members who clung on. Entire constituencies lost whole canvassing teams to Alba in one go. Alba may not have pulled in the numbers they'd hoped, but they did attract a lot of experienced party members. Yeah, so they're not converting party members and activists into Alba into actual votes just yet. But time will tell. Now, Salmond, of course, has said that he's not going to contest the Rutherglen seat, and I think probably wise. Not enough time to get on the ground and do it. So this is the SNP candidate, and she has got, I think, virtually no chance. Now, I've always said that the SNP always turn into Alex Salmond, and if she's relatively young and probably a little bit attractive there, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd say attractive, but she's already starting to morph, isn't she? Starting to turn into Alex Salmond. What is it about SNP women turning into Alex Salmond? It's weird, isn't it? Anyway, now you're struggling to get an SNP branch meeting with double figures of participants. There isn't much sign of anyone canvassing in Rutherglen who isn't on the payroll. The SNP can't turn out the kind of numbers it needs to overcome its branding problem. Its branding problem is Humza Yousaf, as I mentioned. If you want to change brand, you've got to do it quickly. Now, it's too late for Rutherglen. It's gone. Finished. End of story. Drop that one. Accept the defeat. Move on. If you want to do anything, you've got to get rid of Humza Yousaf, and you've got to bring in the only one person who can possibly turn things around in time for the general election. But it has to be now. And we all know who that is. It's Kate Forbes. Now, I'm not saying that she's a particularly brilliant MP, but she's a different MP. She is not Humza Yousaf. She is a Highlander. She's an actual Scot. She actually is intelligent. I will give her. She actually is quite an intelligent woman. And having that rebrand would allow her to sit there and say, right, day one, get rid of him, her, him, her, and him. And fire all the woeful, awful, useless members of the current cabinet. The bum chums, the lickspittles, the oleaginous pricks that fawn to Humza Yousaf, and who owe him their job. Get rid of them, because they're all useless. And if necessary, bring in a professional team to oversee. It's not illegal. Bring in a professional team to oversee cabinet positions. And she could do that, and she could actually get professional advice and actually do something right. And that would benefit Scotland in the short term, because you're going to have this crowd for another 2.5 years. So you might as well have someone doing something. Someone who looks at the realities and says, let's just stop with the independence shit for a minute and get on and do the day job and get something right, so that we can go to the polls in the the Holyrood elections and show Scotland that we've done this, we've actually achieved something. Because at the moment, they've got nothing that they can point to. Anyway, the SNP lost 30,000 members last year, although it retains more than 70,000, allegedly, still falling. It's the highest in Scotland. And if you've got the highest membership in Scotland, you still can't get more than maybe 10 people turning up to a branch meeting. That's pathetic. But concerns have been raised that Mr Yousaf is failing to win over doubters after he only narrowly won the race to become the party leader. He scraped over the line and died on it. His nose got across the line, that was it. Mr Mark Alpine claimed the party is in financial death loop, and he predicted the situation would get much worse unless Mr Yousaf was removed by the membership. And earlier this month it was confirmed that the SNP was 800,000 in the red amid a police investigation into party finances. The SNP had been approached for comment, but of course none has been forthcoming because they ain't going to say a goddamn word. I'm going to round off, I'm going to come up, and we will come to a conclusion here. Well, there we go. Now, I'm going to draw that conclusion, as I said, and it's going to be an astounding conclusion, and that is that people in the SNP are finally wising up and seeing Humza Yousaf the same way we do. He's a failure. He's a serial failure. He's stupid. He's ignorant. He's wrong. He lies a lot. He blusters. He covers up his bluster and lies with more bluster and lies. And the worst of it, of course, is that he lacks any kind of personal charm. Now, you can say what you like about Alex Salmond. I mean, you can disagree with his politics, but he was a charming man. But, you know, outside of a political arena, you can probably spend some time with him and enjoy his company. Same with Jackie Baillie. You may not agree with her politics, but Jackie Baillie, she comes across, she's human. She cares. You can feel that. Humza Yousaf, he's got no empathy. Now, of course, he's like his mentor. She is I was going to say psychopath. No, she's a sociopath. She's got no connection with people at all. She just does not know how to function as a human being. And that's rubbed off on him. I'm not saying he's a sociopath, but I think he's taken that cold, like the parents like the child. The apple hasn't fallen far from that particular tree, as it were. Now, I don't know whether that's him, or it may even be cultural. I'm not going to go down that path. It may be a cultural thing. But he doesn't relate to people. And that is why he cannot get 10 people in a room together who support him. And it's fantastic to see it. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, do please, right now, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Ring the bell, leave a like, and definitely share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, just be nice, and people will like you. Bye.